The new Infiniti QX60 isn't exactly a surprise. I saw some preliminary sketches about a year ago, and of course, we recently reviewed the Nissan Pathfinder here at Alex Autos. And the QX60 and the Pathfinder are very closely related. For the Infiniti, that's definitely a very good thing, because this continues to be one of the most family-focused three-row crossovers available in the luxury segment, and it's going to be a very direct competitor to the Acura MDX. The MDX is one of the best-selling vehicles in the midsize luxury crossover group, and when we're talking about three-row crossovers, it is the bestseller. So this really is obviously the target for Infiniti with this new model. Let's take a look around here. You can definitely see that they've sharpened the lines up. It has the very distinctive Infiniti grille. I think it looks pretty attractive, a little bit more luxurious, a little bit less sporty, I guess you'd say, than the Acura MDX. Obviously, we have a very distinctive front-end grille there. The side profile definitely looks a little bit like the Nissan Pathfinder, but they've certainly updated things by giving it the distinctive Infiniti back-end design, the kink right back there behind the rear windows, and also a slightly higher belt line, slightly shorter greenhouse in the back. It looks like the hatchback and the tail lamps were really designed to make the Infiniti QX60 look wider than the previous generation, and it has some subtle chrome accents down there at the bottom of the bumper. They look kind of like skid plates. It's a little bit difficult to tell exactly what those are. And there's also a very prominent hitch receiver in the bottom of the bumper. I expect this to have the same tow rating that we find in the Nissan Pathfinder of 6,000 pounds. You'll notice that we don't have any integrated exhaust tips, just a single one over there on the passenger side tucked up under the rear bumper. Now, under the hood, we find the latest 3.5-liter V6 engine from Infiniti. It produces just under 300 horsepower in this model, and we don't have a CVT anymore. That's probably one of the big things that Infiniti has announced. This gets the same ZF 9-speed automatic transmission as the Pathfinder. It's likely that the 9-speed automatic is going to have a serious impact on 0 to 60 performance, improving it for the QX60, and we have a revised all-wheel drive system that's going to send a little bit more power to the rear. But the big changes happen on the inside, so let's dive into those photos now. The new QX60 is going to be a 6-passenger or a 7-passenger vehicle depending on the trim that you get. The top-end trim is going to be a 6-passenger vehicle. It's going to have captain's chairs in the second row, and the captain's chairs will still flip and fold forward with a child seat latched into place. That's a really, really handy feature. We saw that in the previous generation QX60. It's now been expanded to this generation of QX60 to work on both sides of the second row rather than just one. That means that this is going to be a lot easier to get folks into the third row if you have child seats in the second row versus something like the MDX or a Volvo XC90, or insert pretty much any other luxury three-row crossover in that window. Unless you have a removable center console that you'll find in some of the competition or captain's chairs with a walkway between, this is going to be an awful lot easier than those options as far as getting people into the back. One thing really interesting about the picture set that Infiniti sent out is that the autograph model that they're showing here has a 2-person bench seat in the third row. So rather than a middle seat belt right there, it just has sort of a little rubber storage area, no fold-down armrest or anything like that. But that means this is going to be a 6-passenger vehicle. The big change for the QX60 happens up front, and some of these pictures are a little bit difficult to show you what's going on here, but we have a lot of soft touch materials, a lot of stitched leather, stitched pleather going on here, etc. The dashboard has this really cool quilted section running right across the dash, a pop-up infotainment system running the latest version of Infiniti's software, so no more 2-screen infotainment system from Infiniti. This is the software that we should be seeing in all the Infiniti models going forward. There is a rumor that the Infiniti QX80 may actually get an emergency refresh with this particular infotainment system on it soon. The dashboard also has a large strip of wood trim running across it. I don't know if that's real or fake just yet. I expect it to be real in this model, especially the top-end trim. It really gives the dashboard a really interesting layered look. So stitch materials down below, right around that glove compartment, an area of piano black trim and chrome trim, that stitched leather with the quilting, then wood trim, and then even more stitching going on the top of the dashboard. The steering wheel design looks very similar to what we see in the Nissan Pathfinder. It's got a flat bottom, sport grips. It's of course leather wrapped and has paddle shifters on the back. And then the instrument cluster looks to be the same full LCD cluster that we find in the top-end Pathfinder as well. And one thing that surprised me is the software looks to be pretty much the same as well. As far as the display layouts, you can get the dials in more of a traditional format or more rotated towards the side. The climate control system is a 3-zone climate control system. You can see it's a combination of touch buttons and some knobs right there. And then we have a joystick style shifter in the middle. Bearing in mind that Infiniti has only shared photos of the top-end autograph trim, I have to say I really love what I'm seeing with this interior. The design, the parts quality, and the way they're arranged looks really elegant. The stitched and quilted leather, the ambient lighting strips that are right there underneath the wood trim, everything looks like it's done to a really high level. Unfortunately, I just don't know what the base models look like. But Infiniti has detailed some of the other changes for the QX60. We're going to get the latest version of their Pro Pilot Assist system with traffic sign recognition. There's also going to be a 10.8-inch full-color heads-up display and a Bose Performance Series sound system with 17 speakers. But there are a few details that Infiniti is keeping for later. They haven't said exactly what kind of features we'll find on the base model of QX60, we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost, and they have not provided any legroom or headroom figures. However, it does look like it's going to be almost exactly the same size as the MDX on the outside and on the inside. The cargo area does appear to be a little bit smaller than the MDX. It's just under 15 cubic feet behind the third row that expands to over 40 cubic feet if the third row is folded. That's relatively similar to the MDX as far as space goes. Legroom figures we just don't know, but if we go by what we see in the Nissan Pathfinder, it looks like it's going to be about the same size in terms of legroom, but more cargo practical, perhaps with the third row folded, and certainly more passenger practical if you have children in child seats. I love the way that you can fold those seats forward with the child seat latched into place. Obviously, your kids have to be in the weight and age range to use latch anchors, but if they are, that's going to make it an awful lot more practical than a lot of the competition. It looks like Infiniti hasn't completely reinvented the wheel with the new QX60. I was expecting to see the new Infiniti serial hybrid system that they had been announcing quite some time ago. Unfortunately, we do not see that under the hood just yet. Who knows whether it will come or when it will come in the QX60, but I can say that at launch, there's just going to be the one engine choice, the 3.5-liter V6. Be sure and hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so you can be updated on all of my latest videos, including a full drive review of the QX60 just as soon as I can get my hands on it. And if you want to know when that is, you can find me over at facebook.com/AlexNautos because that's where you'll see things first. I'll see all of you later, and be sure and check out the merch store if you haven't already done so, AOAmerch.com. I'll see all of you later.